What's going on, guys? So today I want to make another video that might sound a little bit crazy to you at first, but bear with me. It kind of blew my mind when I heard it the first time. So I was watching a video from a channel called Legion of Men on YouTube a while back, and it was about the breakfast industry, and there's a lot of crazy things behind that, and unfortunately, I don't know the specific names of the people. You'd have to look it up. But the video, you can actually look up the video from Legion of Men about the breakfast industry. Excuse me, the breakfast industry. Um, this coffee's making me burp. Um, so it's about propaganda, right? And how the media and commercials make you think in a certain way, like this thing is good for you, so you should eat it, right? So, for example, they were struggling. There's a point where they were struggling to sell more, let's say, like sausage and bacon and things like that. So they made breakfast more of like, oh, like that's when they started saying like that's the most important meal of the day. You gotta have your bacon and your sausage and things like that, right? Like they were like putting it in the commercials and making it like this is healthy. You better eat this stuff, right? And there's different people who actually have connections, like familial connections. Like I'm pretty sure one of them is, because they're all consistently, they've been putting out like propaganda throughout some of U.S. history. Right, like one of them is related to the Netflix CEO, or like one of the CEOs of Netflix, or a higher up at least. Maybe the guy that started it. You'll have to do more of your own research on this one, but basically, the craziest part of the whole video was that John Kellogg, right, as in like Kellogg's cereal, huge cereal company, on that same wave of like breakfast is the most important meal of the day, this and that, they basically pushed a bunch of cereal to the forefront, right? Like you got to have cereal with your day. You got to, they were getting in the way of people eating things like eggs, right? And the reason this is important for men, right? Because you might have noticed this, that in the U.S. for a long time they've been saying things like butter and eggs are bad for you, and maybe you shouldn't put butter on everything. Like, it's actually like decently healthy to cook with butter, right? And not healthy to cook with seed oils. You could do your own research again on that. But basically, butter and eggs provide some things for men that are building blocks for testosterone. And if you haven't noticed, in certain ways, some of the U.S. has been slowly becoming feminized when it comes to the men, right? And I mean, you can see it in certain guys, right? Like we can't lift as much weight as like our grandpa or great granddad would have in the gym. Like if we were going to the gym together, right? We're not as big. Our jaws aren't as strong as them, like more as pronounced, things like that. And it's crazy because there's a lot of things that have been, let's say, playing into feminizing men. Not just this, but this is just, sprinkles on the cake for you, right? Like, so John Kellogg was Seventh-day Adventist, right? So that was like the church that he went to, and he believed that testosterone and like getting together with a woman, right, was like very sinful, XYZ, and testosterone drives you to want to be with a woman. And so basically this is the whole crazy part, right? Is, cereal is really sugary, really not good for you, and they managed to convince a whole nation of people to have cereal for breakfast every single day, when what especially men should be eating is things like cook your eggs with butter, steak, right? Things that will naturally help you be strong and produce more testosterone. And I know this might sound a little bit crazy, but look into that video that I told you about by Legion of Men about the breakfast industry, and I mean your mind is going to be blown. And then you can do some of your own research afterwards. John Kellogg, and then some of these guys are connected to other people who have been in different like advertising and marketing industries that basically have convinced us to think a certain way when that thing isn't necessarily true, right? Like we just believe it to be true. Like, oh, like we should have cereal with breakfast every morning, right? Just like little things that we haven't. You realize that, like, it makes you realize that you haven't even questioned certain things because you were just told that your whole life, and it wakes you up to the idea of being more self-aware, critically thinking, like, where did that information come from? I know they told me that the whole time growing up, but why do I think that? Is that actually true? And I think that's the most valuable gem drop of this whole video. It took me a while to get to it, and it's a bit of a tangent or a ramble, but you probably thought I was crazy up until this point, but I hope this helps you at least start thinking more critically for yourself so that you can live the life that you really want. You got this, man.